told these guys a couple things that you don't know. It's the first time in school history we've had two 80-yard passes by the same quarterback in the same game, or just in the same game period. Damon's 122 receiving is the most by a running back in school history. That 84-yard catch was the second longest by a running back in school history. Keegan's 158 yards receiving is the first 150-yard game, I believe, since 2011. The good thing is when that happened, the last time that happened, the coach got fired. I don't think that's happening here, so I think you're good. I think you're good, okay?
Kimberly Eck's happy about Jackson Eck having his first career completion that we kind of wasted.
Yes, and then Jackson 1 for 1 for 30 yards. All right, go ahead. Questions. Opening statement questions here, then we'll get to the Zoom.
Yeah, that was emotionally exhausting win. So I think I'm glad we have a bye week because I think we're still learning. I think our kids thought we just won the Super Bowl the way they're celebrating, which I'm happy for them, and I feel better that we have another week to pull them back down to earth. But we got to send them outside because they want to do smoke cigars in the locker room like this was the Alabama-Tennessee game, which it's not. So, but heck of a win, and I'm proud because I thought that was going to be. And credit to UNLV. They're resilient. I mean, a lot of teams you jump up 21-0 and they're going to go in the tank, but Coach Melvin's done a good job with that team. They don't give up. They're resilient. They keep fighting, and they came right back to tie that sucker in the second quarter. And we talked all week. It was going to be like we kind of played up like you're going to Vegas where they have heavyweight fights. We showed us some clips of fights today, just how you got to keep getting up off the mat. You got to keep responding. And we did just enough to win. I mean, our that last drive, or I guess it was their second to last drive on offense, where we went down and scored an amazing drive. Keegan made some huge plays, and then defense two stops in a row, just outstanding. And Daniel Hughes, what a pin punt! That's I think you go into that drive a lot different if it's a touchback and the ball's on the 20. You probably feel like you got a lot better shot on offense. That's pretty depressing to go out there and know you got to drive 99 yards to win the game. So, what a win! So happy for our players to be bowl eligible. We had guys like Tavian Combs and Isaiah Solomon have been here a long time and never been bowl eligible. Happy for our fans. Make those plans. Keep December free, and we get down to earth after this bye week, and then 3 more games, 2 at home. We got to go see what we can do.
You said earlier this week that you thought the season would kind of be a failure if you guys didn't get to a bowl game. Didn't get that 6th win after the kind of start that you had. To get that 6th win in this fashion, has that kind of sunk in for you at all?
Yeah, and I just like taking advantage of the first opportunity. I always think those teams in the NBA playoffs who get up, 3-0 or 3-1 or something, and they let the other team hang around, and all of a sudden it goes to game 7. You don't want to create that pressure of, getting to 5 wins and then, losing 3 straight. Now you got to win the last game to do it. So I think it's nice to kind of get that monkey off our back and know we're going bowling. And now, let's see what we can do. Get ready for the Colorado State team that I know has had some ups and downs, and then take it one game at a time. But I think this definitely is what we wanted to do this year. We wanted to play in a bowl game, and I don't know if I envisioned us getting bowl eligible 3 games left, but pretty awesome that we did.
I believe that pick 6 was the one that tied it, 21-0 and all that as well. And just kind of tough that we're going up 21-0 and all that. To respond and go, you have that big Keegan touchdown and then that field goal from Drizwicky and all that to go, to have a 10-point lead at the half. How important was that this game?
Well, build some momentum and just show that we responded. We didn't hang our head, and I was proud of Jack for coming right back. After throwing a pick 6, that can alter your confidence. But our mental strength coach Sindra, always talks about things can change. Things can change that fast as a snap of the fingers, and he reset and threw a beautiful pass. And it was a really good play call by Coach Slice too. We had a alert on that if they went 2 safeties, we're going to double move the safety and get Keegan up on him. He ran a good route. The protection was just okay. Jack did a really good job kind of extending the play and scrambling and then hitting it deep.
Coach, the UCLA win was nice for the fans. I think it was a surprise for them. And then, we come back beat Utah State last week, which gets people's attention. But this is a statement victory for a program that has not had one in a really long time.
That's a big time win. I mean, they were 6-1. They were 2nd place in the conference. I think they played in the conference championship game 2 years in a row. I mean, this is a good program. You got a coach who's used to be the head coach of Florida. This is a big win for us. And like I said, I think kind of like UCLA, it's probably nice that we got a bye week here, because I'd be worried a little bit if we got to play somebody next Saturday, because like I said, I think we have not won the Super Bowl. We're bowl eligible, but we haven't qualified for the Super Bowl. But we got to reset that with our players and improve this week so that we can finish strong, down the stretch here.
Would you almost rather not have a bye week because now you have a pretty good sense of momentum?
Momentum can change like that, so we'll get our momentum back. I really don't mind it because, like I said, I think you let these guys enjoy it. They earned it. They put in a lot of work to get to this point, so that, it kind of lets them enjoy it. If we had a game next Saturday, I'd be telling them, hurry up, shower, let's get on the plane and get back. Where now I'm letting them, hang out a little bit. We're not in a huge hurry to get back having the off week, so I don't mind. We'll be fine coming off the bye.
Defensively, what kind of was the game plan for them? How do you feel they kind of executed?
Well, we wanted to stop the run. I think that back is really a good player, and we, what do we hold him to? Held him to 34 yards rushing. I mean, that's a really excellent job. We didn't want Calandria to hurt us scrambling. We did an okay job against him. He had 41 yards. We got to keep working on our zone coverage. I think when we're playing zone coverage this year, we're probably giving up a few more completions than we'd like. We mixed in some man later, but they got good receivers now. I mean, we were worried about some of the matchups and stuff with receivers, especially with, Abe was out, Caleb Coleman, our starting star, was out. Hopefully we'll get those guys back after the bye week. But we had to mix it up with that quarterback. He's a good player. I thought he competes and plays well and didn't get rattled, even though they got down early.
Coach, your athletics director over here, his watch told him that he was working out, even though he's standing still in the end zone right at the end of the game. What do you have to say about an AD that you're driving crazy over there?
Well, I love our AD. He's I'm probably biased because he hired me, but I love that guy, and he gives great support. He's all in. He's a football guy. I laughed last week. I didn't even tell him this, but when we hit the fake punt last week, you see him celebrating in his turquoise, pumping his fist. He's all in and loves it, and I think I respect him because. I think for Fernando, and my wife knows this too. I mean, this is like a job for us. I mean, this is our life. We pour everything into it, and I like being around people like that. I really like to have everyone who's around our program be invested. Like, this is really, really important to them. What happens, and I think that's what gets you to win when you have people like that around your program. And he's like that, and I think he had belief in what he could do here, and thankfully gave me a chance to come here. And I wasn't just going to take any job. I knew I wanted something that I thought we really could make something special happen. And I think we're well on our way to doing that.
Coach, on the first possession, UNLV, they had a turnover on downs. Keyshawn James Newby applied some pressure, got the ball out, was incompletion. Then towards the end of the game, Brett Carhu got another pressure. Keyshawn James Newby got home. What do you got to say about the pass rushers that UNM has?
D-line plays well, and I thought that was one of the matchups we needed to win. I thought we needed to do a good job, our D-line against their O-line. And also, the good thing is, at the end of the game, when you have them down with that little time left, it really takes away Calandria's option to scramble, because they have no timeouts, so that you can really pin your ears back and you're not worried as much about him stepping up and scrambling. But I thought they played really well. I think that 4th and 1 was really good by Coach Nowinski. He called the zero pressure. I bet it was kind of a goofy call. It was one of those auto sub situations where they were holding him because the completion was on the sideline. I don't think either team sub, but they treated it as a sub because it was near the sideline, which is kind of a goofy rule, but that's how they do it. So they held them at the line of scrimmage. I think they saw that we had everybody up, and so they checked to a pass. But then, the helmet communication, Coach Nowinski told Jackson they checked the zone, and then we got to zone and defended the pass on 4th and 1. So I thought that was a really good coaching sequence by Coach Nowinski, and good execution by our guys.
You said earlier that it's not like it's the 3rd Saturday in October, the Super Bowl and all that, but it is a big one and all that. What do the next 24 to 48 hours kind of look like for you guys?
We're gonna celebrate. I gave the staff tomorrow off. Players just got to come in and get a little treatment tomorrow, but they're off. I'm gonna watch NFL game with my 10-year-old son. Might have a few pops tonight to celebrate. Watching football. It's nice to have an early game, and then we'll come in as a staff on Monday morning and get on this film and get it corrected. And you don't get a lot of off days because usually, most games we come in on Sunday right away and work all day and watch the film. But with us having a bye week, we're giving the staff off tomorrow to enjoy some time with their family, and then we'll get on Monday and we'll do some recruiting next week. But I told the guys, I told them we were going to go all in this game and then get them fresh after we won. So we're only going to practice twice this week. We're going to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and then give them a long weekend and come back and practice hard next Monday for Colorado State.
You mentioned earlier in the week that if it presented itself as a shootout and all that, you'd be willing to play within the confines of that game, all that, the context of that game. You did outrush UNLV, but the running backs were terribly, kind of productive as usual and all that. How did this game come down from forward offensively from your perspective in terms of what you guys were able to do well?
Yeah, it was an interesting game. James is our leading rusher. He had some big ones. A 58-yarder, was huge. He had another big one on the 4th and 1. I'm sure they were keyed into trying to stop our rushing attack, and our backs were not tremendously effective. Again, we only had 12 tailback run carries, which I don't love. We were able to, take advantage of some mismatches. We thought our backs on their linebackers, because they play a lot of man, was a really good matchup for us. And that was like our, Demon's first touchdown was just like a route, the empty, getting him out there and getting him man. The second one was a screen that was well executed. But we liked some of those matchups to those guys in the passing game, and then it was an interesting game how it unfolded. We ended up in kind of a 2-minute situation. I think I told Slice in the headphones when there was about 4 minutes left, maybe 3.5. I was like, I didn't have a great feel of. I said we should play really slow or really fast here, just because I was worried about. I'd love to just take it down and try to win in a field goal with no time, because you didn't want to give the team, the ball back. And I think Luke probably could have made a field goal from there. But my thought was, if you do that, then even if you make the field goal to go up 8, you kick off, and they're gonna have better field position. They're gonna have the ball at like the 25. Daniel was so good at those pin punts last week, and I said, hey, let's take a shot at pinning them, and that was well executed.
Coach, you've been coaching football for such a long time. What makes that group of guys in there that's just, they have so much energy? What makes them just a very memorable group for you?
Well, I think they really worked hard to build relationships. I think they really care about each other and love each other, and it's a process. I remember, I don't want to squeal on my wife here, but I think my wife told me once that, Jackson said, back in the spring, our team is not as close as it was at Idaho at the time. But that was just early in the process. That was early in the process. And I think now that team, and my wife's giving me a bad look like I'm betraying confidence, but I think that we are a close team now. We've worked at it. We worked really hard, and we've gotten close, and they really care about each other, and they don't want to let each other down. And we still make mistakes and screw things up, but we battle. We had guys step up today off the bench. Frankie Edwards gets a start because Abe's out, and has 12 tackles. And Kaiwan McRae comes in because Caleb Coleman is out, and he forces the fumble before the half that leads to a field goal. So they care about each other, they love each other, they step up, and I think it's a close-knit team. We're still growing. We still have our flaws like any family, but we got to keep learning and growing.
And then the UNM fans that traveled here, they were making some. I was hearing a lot of noise from the traveling UNM fans. What do you have to say to all the ones that showed up here and showed their support for the Lobos?
I love it. It's kind of fun when you have these big road wins like UCLA, and they all end up, getting in that one condensed section where we're singing the fight song in front of them, and that was a good turnout. And I know Lobos love coming to Vegas, and it was usually for the basketball tournament, but now they can love coming here for big wins in football as well, not just winning the basketball tournament. But I know our fans love coming here. I'm glad UNLV is staying with us in the league, and I really think, I told Coach Smallman before the game, I think this is going to end up being a great rivalry in the Mountain West going forward, where this could be a game that every year has title implications in the new Mountain West going forward.
It kind of feels like you touched on earlier, but you kind of can't understate them. The 2 catches by Keegan at the end on the sideline and all that. Just how important are those in the flow of the game?
Huge. And, one of them they called the pass interference. I thought they should call pass interference on both. He was just playing through contact and playing strong. And he's been, what a game he had. Both, against zone coverage when he hit the double move and when a one-on-one. He's been a warrior for us, and so proud of him. Again, he's had a long college career that had some ups and downs. This is his 3rd school, and for him to have a big game like that and a big win is awesome to see.
And then overall, thoughts on Jack's performance today?
I thought Jack played well. I think the way he bounced back after throwing the interception. I think that was probably the best thing, is he didn't let that lead to multiple. Because again, I think that's a heck of a stat when you're 6-0, and as long as he doesn't turn it over 3 times, we're 6-0 and he doesn't turn it over 3 times. So it was good that he limited it to 1 and he came right back from it. We'll see. I had to look at the tape. I mean, there's a couple like sacks that we might have been on too quick to make it happen. But I thought he played well. I mean, he was accurate again. I think that was the same. Wasn't he 17 for 22 last week as well?
Yeah. He was 22, yeah.
Yeah, he had a few more yards per attempt. We had a lot more big plays this year because Keegan and Devon having such big plays. But I thought he played well.
Hey, 2 more here, and then we'll switch it up.
You mentioned, I think earlier in the season that you guys kind of like shifted a little bit away from Taiwan and all that linebacker. What if his like the last couple of weeks looked like for him in terms of him shifting over to that more than nickel role?
Yeah.
And how he's kind of grown there?
Yeah, we just moved him to the star role. I think some of the things that we were asking him to do, he had played, more linebacker last year for Jacksonville State, but it was a very different defense. It was more of a 3-3 stack, kind of chunk it up defense, and it was more like see ball, get ball, and we asked our linebackers to, fit runs and see pullers and things like that, and that was something he struggled with early in, I think the Idaho State game really showed up. But now this, he's very athletic. He's got such long arms. He's rangy. He's not. Probably the ideal guy to be a man coverage on a receiver, but he can cover tight ends. So we had to hold him today on a tight end. He didn't need to hold him to run with him, but he loves football. He plays with great energy. I think he's just got a knack for making plays. And that fumble, he was a spy on the quarterback in that play, and that was a good package that we put in there just to get a more athletic guy to spy Calandry because he's so fast and he did a great job punching it out.
For the last one, he also got the fumble recovery because they didn't blow the play dead, so he got some fumble recovery in the last play as well.
Should I ask these guys if they have any questions too?
Yeah, last one here, right here, last one here.
Yeah, Abe and Coleman obviously were out, and then Isaiah, and then Isaiah Blair, and then Lavelle were late scratches. What's kind of going on for those guys?
Yeah, they're all a little different story. Abe and Caleb just couldn't get back in time from an injury from last week. Nev got sick. He came down with like the flu or something, but he was puking and stuff and couldn't go. And then Isaiah Blair, his championship behavior wasn't quite good enough to come on the trip, so he was a late scratch. So, online questions?
Coach, you obviously said this is a huge win. It is, and it's your 3rd straight. Can you just talk about, I guess, the grit and the progression you've seen to this point, and really starting to find a rhythm? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's kind of the definition of grit. We talk about work over a long period of time for long-term goals, and we were starting kind of slow in games, and then we really tried to make an emphasis of it. And I don't think the first week we emphasized that we didn't necessarily start fast either, but that's something we've kept with, and now it showed off. And this week we get up 21-0, on a really good football team. So I think we're showing grit and we're growing. And we had that rough spell where we went on the road twice, and I really don't think our effort was bad during that thing. It's just we weren't executing at the level, and so we weren't seeing the results that we saw early in the year when we had such a great win against UCLA and New Mexico State. But now we're back in that phase where we're seeing more results, and we can't forget what got us to this point. It's by working our tail off and getting better and competing in practice.
Anything else?
Coach, so those last 2 defensive stands, defense just went lights out. Would you say that your trust in this defense has been growing more and more as it goes on?
Yeah, I think so. Our defense has been good. We rep a lot of 2-minute situations in practice, and they're good. They're good in those situations. It was funny. We went back after the Nevada game before we played Utah State. I said, let's play the situation where we went for it 4th and 1 at the end of the Nevada game, and let's play that situation if we didn't get that. And we got stopped, and now the defense had to defend it. I thought they did a great job. They were only up 2 in that situation, and they held us. We had a lot of great pass rushers when we get them in those situations, and we're able to play a lot of different coverages. I have a lot of confidence in both sides of the ball, and I was very proud of the way the game unfolded, because I thought both sides had to show a lot of character by coming back and having a big-time series after they didn't have a big-time series the series before. That's mental toughness, that's grit when you do things like that.
Let's switch it up because we still guys got to shower and get cigar smoke out of their uniforms.
Should we go Keegan first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jackson's sitting by his mom so nice.
Hi.
So